Jeremy, other side right here. Obviously, welcome back. We haven't got to see you up on that stage since the Iowa fight week. So I guess just how's life been? And I guess did you think we would be speaking with you again at a UFC fight week at some point in your career?
Oh, absolutely. You know how was that Iowa card? That's a 3-year layoff, no MMA, and in my hometown on 8 weeks notice, 7 weeks of training. How was that for 39? Didn't look bad. The guy didn't want to fight though.
Well, again on Saturday here in Jersey, you got King Green. I can't imagine there's been a fight between two guys where there's more combined fights, especially just in the UFC than you and King. So, I guess. Was this a name you were expecting? Because it seems like both of you guys have been kind of fighting this new generation of MMA guys, and now you guys finally get to tangle like this kind of later in your career.
Yeah, after my last fight, I couldn't sleep, and I hit up Dana like a day or two later, and I was just like, man, give me another opportunity. Give me Mike Chandler. Give me somebody my age, somebody that, is up there, has got fights like me, not these like young, hungry killers on short notice. Like, give me somebody and let me just prepare. That was the main thing. There was like no excuses. I had the time. It didn't matter if I trained with Anderson Silva, GSP. I just did what I did. And taken from that, I was like, man, if I just have some preparation, like, let me fight someone like my age, like someone who's like actually down to fucking fight and, who's been in the game, who's like, like something like that, right? And we asked for those guys. And then, after Bobby just came, and I hit up my management. I was like, Bobby Green. And he was like, fucking right, man. And then he's like, hey, Dana and them guys love it. Like, next thing you know, bless you. We were lined up to fight. So, I mean, couldn't have gone better.
What did you make of his last performance? Because again, like fighting another young guy, kind of not halted maybe the hype train, but kind of maybe set him back a bit again.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, you look at it. I mean, not him personally, but like as another human being who's up there in age, fights like that. I mean, he looks great. Still got spring in his step. Still smooth as shit. I mean, that's fucking awesome. And then you go in and knock out a young, hungry contender. There's it's matchups, right? It's timing.
And I've asked, King Green this in the past, and I think you're the perfect one to ask too. Like, what's the difference between maybe fight fans now and then like fight fans like, 10, 15 years ago that they didn't watch MMA when Strikeforce was a thing or King of the Cage, or they only know Jose Aldo as the guy that lost to Conor, not, the Jose Aldo that was doing this thing at featherweight.
And the fans, dude, the fans are funny. The fans have always been like that. I don't worry about the fans. Sure. They pay green. So it's whether you love it, hate it, they paying me regardless. So, the fans are, they choose what they want to choose. But I'll tell you this, for the fans, like I'm happy to be back here. I'm grateful to be back here. It's been a long road to get back here. I didn't even think I'd be back in UFC with stuff that had kind of happened, my losing streak and just the way I was performing. To pull myself out of bare knuckle, out of the gutter, you ever seen the movie The Ring? Like crawling myself out of the well, to get like haunting people down. To be back here, I'm super grateful. And obviously I got the fans to thank for that because they're still tuning into my fights. They love what they see, and even life outside of UFC, people have been nothing but of support. And I really appreciate that. That does mean a lot. So I'm in super gratitude for the fans, the people that want and love to see me, fans from all over. Jeremy Stevens, they'll recognize me anywhere. I love that shit, man. It's cool. It's good that the fans recognize me. They love my fighting style, and that ranges from young kids. I was in Denver and little young kids, and then there's like old men, and then there's I've been in the UFC PI. A girl was speaking Portuguese, and she's like, all I understood was her mom and her fans, and I was like, cool. Obviously, they probably seen me knock out Hani Jason or a Brazilian down there, and they weren't thinking that I wasn't like Brazilian. They were just probably like, man, I like that style. That's a human being. I want to fight like that motherfucker. That guy's nasty. So to inspire like that and see that here, it's like I'm grateful.
To kind of go off of that, do you think this is just based on what you did outside the UFC, like making a big name for yourself in BKFC, and then to come back here, I remember when you had that long win streak of knockouts, but do you feel like your popularity has kind of never been higher than it is now, just based on how you were able to regrow your name outside of the UFC and then be able to come back?
Yeah. I grew my name inside the UFC, and to get the following and then recreate something out of like nothing. Most people, they get canned from UFC, they get fat, they fucking retire, or they lose their mental health. And I'm not even joking. That's not even funny. Like, that's just fucking facts. I have a big brother that's looking down, Anthony Johnson. You know, I seen him do it. You know, he got outside of UFC, moved up weight classes, and he was just banging heads. Next thing you know, he's banging on the UFC door again that they let him back, and then he ends up fighting for a title. I kind of kept that inspiration. Like I said, man, there's some stuff that happened. I just don't feel like we were seeing eye to eye, and we kind of like let go. And I was like, fuck, man, I'm not going to lie, bro. I was like hurt. You know, I was like, damn, dude, like UFC is like my dream. I've been watching this since like 5th grade with my grandfather, and I was like, man, I want to do that. And to be doing it as long as I've done it, you know, it's like I know this is like my calling. So to get that taken away and then have it back, you have no idea what it feels like to be here.
Last one for me. I saw you do an interview, and I think you used the phrase you're going to speed run the rest of your career. So I guess what do you want the rest of your career to look like moving forward?
Just keep me busy. You don't ever see me sitting on the sidelines. I've been doing this shit since 16 years old, fighting 3-4 times a year. I'm 39. In 2025, what I fight 3 times. You know, I'm making good money. I'm loving and providing for my family, creating financial freedom for them. But I love doing this. I love to hurt motherfuckers. They paying me really well to do it. I love knocking people out. I love recreating new knockouts. I don't just have a right hand. I got flying knees, spinning back fist, head kick KOs, left hook, ground and pound. One of the bloodiest fights in history. And that's without steroids. And I don't think anybody else can really compete with me, or I have probably one of the top 10 highlight tapes in the world, and I'm still doing it. It's just out of pure love and passion. It's just something that I was born to do.
Jeremy, over here. Obviously, you've been fighting for a very long time, got a lot of fights. You're 19 years this month from your UFC debut. You have an impressive perspective on kind of the evolution of the sport and this company. You know, we talk about it, you know, amongst ourselves, and fans do, and that kind of thing, about kind of the eras, the periods of this company. You know, when you look back, I don't know how much you do look back at this point still, because you're still in it, but looking back, kind of when was maybe your favorite time to be fighting in the UFC, or maybe be watching, you know, fights yourself?
Right here, right now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't look at the past. I don't. Man, I used to take out my rear view mirror just because I didn't like looking in behind me. I swear to God, I did that when I was a kid. I don't know. I just I stay present now. You know, maybe when I retire, you guys want to ask me what my favorite knockout was. Until then, it's right here, right now. 39 years of age. I'm still performing at a very high level. Still hitting hard. I'm still springing my step. You know, I just fought a young, hungry dude, the last one in MMA, and, you know, I displayed a lot of heart and skills with very minimal preparation for MMA. So I think this is the time, right here, right now. You guys are in for a real treat. Come Saturday night, we got a like-minded opponent, and yeah, always stay present, my man.
Well, let's talk about the present then, too. Obviously, you're talking about a like-minded opponent, someone of a similar age group who also is OG in this sport, right? You guys have kind of a different mentality of maybe fighting because you guys came up at a different time. What do you think of kind of fighters that come up nowadays, and maybe the styles that they bring about, where it's much more, let's say, like, mixed from the beginning than you guys were?
Yeah, I love it. People want to hate or be like, oh, you know, the style. Man, like, I just kind of explained earlier, like, I had a fucked up childhood, right? Like, everybody has, like, something, right? But I take the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm sitting on my parents' shoulders because of what they did. All the bodies and carnage that they laid out. I'm like, I'm here living my life, and now my kids are, so it's like, you know, I have nothing but gratitude for the Ilia Toporias and guys coming out, because we evolutionized that. Them, we're like, damn, I want to fight like that. I want to fight like John Jones. These little 5-year-old kids, 6-year-old kids. There's more intellect. There's more media. There's more eyes. There's more money. There's more. It's just enhanced. Like, we're vibrating on a higher level. The ripple effect that it's taken. I'm like, I'm a part of that. I feel like when I'm in the PI, I'm like, this is the house that I built with my sweat equity, my blood, right? Like, and these young kids get to come up and live off our hard work. They're going to get paid. They're getting signed for more money. I don't know what the minimum is, but when I first fought Den Thomas, I was making $3,000. I was making more than that when I was fighting on the smaller shows. So it's like, I'm not hating at all. Like, I've never been a hater. My mom never raised a hater. Like, I'm a passionate motivator. Like, I'm happy to see these guys that are changing this sport, and then like these countries that are coming in, the fans that get behind their countrymen. They don't care whether you're laying or praying. Like, they're supportive, and that's so cool, because that's like what we always wanted, and to see it here in front of our eyes and changing the world, and fighters doing what they're doing today, and you're meeting just all types of different characters. It's incredible, and I feel like I had something to do with that.
Thank you.
Jeremy, right over here. What can you tell me about Wednesday night fights at Toad Holler?
Oh shit, man! Just a lot of smoking cigarettes back then. You just step in the ring. If we were to like look at each other like, yeah, I'm 165, or like, you're definitely not 165, but we're like, all right, let's fight. And you fought, and then afterwards, like my older sister was pretty cool. She'd always like, she's real friendly, so she used to like talk to the strippers that were there. She'd be like, yeah, this is my little brother, he just fought, and they'd be like, oh, so I just remember stuff like that, like, damn, this is where I want to be, smacking motherfuckers, laying them out, and then getting some titties in my face, So when I was 16, I got kind of think about that. I used to just, I had a friend named Jordan Ayala. He would drive me. It would just be me and him. I would just show up, I would fight, and then I would leave, and then like everybody would be talking about it in school or whatever. Those were good times to think about it. Now I'm like, damn, I have a nephew who's 16. I don't think I would ever tell him to go to a bar and sign up and fight grown men. My grandfather told me to do that. This is the guy I was watching UFC tapes with down in the basement with my grandma, and he kind of seen me grow up because I had to live with him. He seen me fight on the street. He kind of seen the upbringing. And at 16, he's like, hey, I think you should come down here. I watched that the first week. The second week, I went back and fought, and in, like you said, 19 years in UFC, it was my calling. So good memories there.
Yeah, it sounds like you were putting on some action, and then your sister was helping you get some, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. God bless her heart.
So this will be your 60th pro fight across combat sports, and I'm sure you've had more like at Toad Holler and everything. What has been the key to your longevity and success in this sport after over 60 fights?
To adapt, to keep a growing mindset, to keep positivity, even in the negative, to find something positive. I'm probably one of the most positive people you'll ever meet, come across. I don't accept no. I believe in God. I have like such strong faith, even when people don't see it. And the Charles Darwin, it's not the strongest or the smartest, it's the person willing to adapt to change. I'm willing to adapt, to grow, to learn, to fail, to be humiliated, to go through the shit, to crawl out the mud, and just get what I feel like is certain in my heart and in my mind. And that's just positivity and growing to get better every day, no matter what. That's just a mindset. That's not even fighting. I'm talking about when I'm 80 years old. I've never taken steroids. Even though I'm sponsored by Blue Chew, I don't take the Blue Chew pills. I want to be 80, picking the old lady up, shaking her down like dice, running marathons, living my life, and not be all like crunched over and hurting. And I want to live that life. So I feel like, as I grow, like I'm like, damn, I'm projecting this life through my mindset, through what I feel and hear, and being authentic and true in my heart.
So I saw you were making music on Spotify under the name Little Heathen. You actually made a song about your partnership with Blue Chew and everything. When are we getting a new song, and what made you want to do that?
Just for fun, because I used to just rap in high school. Me and a buddy just beatboxing, rapping, and just getting creative. Like podcasts, everybody's doing something. I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm gonna make a rap song. I got Rick Rude out there, cheeks clapping. We got a couple other things, but man, I'm so busy inside of like fighting, making changes, like going out to Vegas, changing up my training camp, that I don't get to do that all the time. So I stay focused on the main thing, but on the outside of the box, like I love having fun. I love rapping and creating Blue Chew type stuff. And you heard that Blue Chew one? You like that? Yeah, it's not bad, huh? So I just having fun, doing my thing.
It was a lot better than I expected, to be quite honest with you.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
More coming.
Back here, obviously you were talking there a bit about like coming back to MMA after being out a while. Your last opponent, Mike Perry, is doing that next week. What's your kind of advice for? I mean, he's been out a lot longer for MMA than you were. But what's your advice for someone like him coming back over across the disciplines?
Yeah, just preparation. Be about the only thing that I could say is, box or bare knuckle and UFC are two different completely sports. Even though they may think that they're competing, they're not even close. They're two completely sports that are very entertaining. I would just say prepare, because preparation is very key. MMA is a completely different pace, completely different fight than bare knuckle, and I wish nothing but the best for Perry and Diaz. Man, it's cool to see two guys of the sport built their names here in UFC to go over to MVP, getting paid millions of dollars for very entertaining fights, and those guys are both entertaining. So preparation be the main thing.
You've got a bit of history with obviously the Diaz team, and then of course you just fought Mike. What's your prediction for that one?
Damn. And MMA, I'd have to go with Diaz. I don't know. You can never bet against Diaz. Bare knuckle, I'd say Perry. Perry is a fucking different breed. He's obviously bigger than me, but one thing I took from our fight was his unique ability to take pain. I don't think I've ever been in there with a guy that's been able to take those type of shots and just kind of walk forward. Obviously, he's heavier than me. We fought up at 175. I would have liked to fought at 170, but when you're pulling in cash and he's the face of the BKFC, and you got to do what you got to do. But for MMA, I'm going to go with Diaz. I think he's long. He's got the jiu-jitsu. Just depends on if he can get him to the ground and get it there. Because I don't think if he doesn't get him on the ground, it's kind of tough in the stand-up. Perry's a beast. He'll walk through them shots, and Nate gets cut a lot. So it's a very interesting fight. If I had to put my money, I'd go Diaz.
Last one. While you were doing the BKFC, obviously you and Conor got to become kind of friendly, it appeared, or got to mend that relationship. What's your relationship with Conor like now, and what was it like getting to spend some time with him?
I still want to beat up my boss, that's for sure. I mean, who doesn't want to beat up their boss, right? Who doesn't want to? Me and him got a lot of fucking history. I'm surprised we're not fighting here in UFC, and just like what we got going on. Me taking a picture with his mom, the BKFC, our story, the journey. We're both similar fighters. We both like to stand, and I wish him nothing but the best. I'm still around for those types of fights, and putting myself in a position to get there. And Saturday night will be no difference. Getting a good win, I'm always just one fight away from something really fucking huge.
Well, yeah, I know they're talking about he has a fight, but he hasn't got an opponent yet. So maybe you win Saturday, get on the mic, and make that happen.
Hey, you're the man, bro. Thanks for saying that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the show.